Hey guys. So I just wanted to apologize that I haven't done a live all day. I've been very overwhelmed today. Um Not that today helped with yesterday. It kind of didn't. I will say it is extremely hard when I'm going to give you a good example. So exactly my dad, okay, way back when, actually not, it was when I was born. He had either can't remember if he was just picking me up from Listen Up, or if he was taking me. I think it was he was just coming to get me, or it was while he was out on a Wednesday. He gets a call from my mom's sister, and she had called him because she wanted him, her, and my mom's niece to all sit down with my mom and help her clear her clutter out of the house. And this is my dad's response. He said, Marianne is going to buy a lot of stuff. She is going to buy a lot of stuff. And I've mentioned to her for years that she needs to clean out things. And my dad's right about that. He makes a really solid point that I unfortunately don't help it any, but my mom does have clutter, a lot of it. But when it has the reverse, like for me, I know what I have to do here at the house. I don't ever refuse chores or tasks that I'm supposed to be doing. And my mom knows me very well and very clearly that I do not refuse or never get anything done, because I do. If she asks me to fold and put away my laundry, I'll do it. Maybe not right away, but I will do it. I typically do it right away. Um but the biggest issue is that when I'm taking Thor out, for example, and my dad's like, what is it? Not to let him leave the yard. Well, if you don't see the neighbor's dog out, or there's any, because we also have cats around our neighborhood too. I didn't see any cats out there. I did see a young man pull out of his driveway in his car, and Thor went towards the car from behind, and the guy's like, "Can I go?" I said, "Yep, you can go." But the thing is, he knows if Thor wasn't in front of the bumper, he could have gone anyway. But it was my fault. It's always my fault that if I do something by mistake, and I was paying attention to Thor too. So, and I even was walking with him. Honestly, I'm going to say this out of being truthful. Thor and I don't have much of a life here, living here. Because that's the thing. Thor and I and my mom the three of us get shame. We never get peace. It's always, why did you buy this? Why did you buy that? I would throw it away. It's like, fuck you. If you need a tool, if you need anything, or you spent $1 on something that you might need in the future, and you have that freaking ass, I hate to say it, person in your home that happens to be a parent tells you to throw it away, or you're not going to ever use this. It's like, how do you know? How do you know? These were knives that were used for different wood projects. Okay? I mean, I mean, I really want to be happy, but why is somebody taking that away from me? There is nobody on planet Earth that gets happiness taken away from them. But and I want to say I don't have to listen to you cuz I know I'm going to get shamed for it. I know. And this is somebody who works for a goddamn ex drug dealer. He can get the fuck out of my life. And the thing is, he didn't even have to do anything when he lived here. The only thing he did was the yard, meaning that the house wasn't under his name. He wasn't even part of his name wasn't even on the house on the loan. It was my mom's name. So, but I am going to say he was so scared that he was going to turn out like his mom when I was born. And I remember he had said to my mom that he wasn't ready for a child. Well, if you weren't ready for a child, why did you go ahead and have one? If you, I mean, that's the thing. You're not even from Maine. So, and there's so many things I have listed that are true that I want to throw in his face and make him the asshole, which, but part of me is really reflecting from that, from the gifts he has given me on Christmas, my birthday. So there are a couple things. And I think that's the thing too, is my dad fails to understand. You might have worked for 42 years as a carpenter, but when you have a child, they grow into responsibilities. They develop responsibilities at home. Meaning, when you start as a child or as, picking up your toys, being potty trained, cleaning up after yourself. So, the difference between looking out for yourself and whoever's living with you at home versus having a job, I'm not saying that losing part of your job or losing a lot of the outcome is good, because it's not. But when you start to backhand the two people who are in your family, not related to financial stress, but I've worked so many years with my mom. I've done shit with her. I've helped her out around the house as what my dad's family told me to do. But he runs over that like a like an ATV through mud, with a ATV tire running through mud. But when an ATV and the when the wheels hit a mud puddle and they go through them, you don't look back and say, "Oh, I feel bad for crushing the mud." I wish, not so much I wish, I know. The thing is, my dad has no clue that I know survival skills. Now, if that was him, like, say if he were out in the woods, he had nothing but making his own tools. He wouldn't have access to a table saw or a multi tool or an impact drill. None of that. Bushcrafts are bushcrafts. They're tools you make outside. But that's the thing between what I do and what he does. He uses a lot of. I like using hand tools, like experimenting with different knives on wood to see what kind of, like. I don't do it because I know why. I know he believes that I don't have a work ethic, meaning that he believes in so little that I can actually work. My dad's never had faith in me that I can do shit. My mom, on the other hand, has a completely different mindset about that. As long as you write down what you're driven out to do, and when you start to have these big uphill challenges, you start to write down, how can I get through them? What are the steps for me to get away from something instead of being with something? because I know even if I decide I make a plan for myself, he will destroy it. My dad will destroy my written plan, or at least what I have planned for my life. And nobody seems to understand that. It is not, it is okay. It's not so much I'm bothered. I mean, yes, I am bothered about losing the house. That is 100% accurate. But I know it's a challenge. It's a challenge, but not a curse. I have many other ways to live my life. Especially since I don't have to depend upon people. And that is one, I would say, many things I've adapted to do is not relying on people to do shit for me. But that shows how mature somebody is, or grow, turns out to be. They don't have people do shit for them. Honestly, I know Thor and I, unfortunately, him and I, and my mom, a lot of the times too, has to deal with it. But we live an outcastic like life. But it's turning out that if I make changes with myself, I make changes for Thor, I make changes for my mom, or at least help her out with hers, it is going to be run over regardless. And that's not what many people understand right now, is that yes, the challenges are huge, but I don't have to consider that for a while. But I called up my old case manager last night to tell her about the cancellation of the Pride Festival for next Friday. And she had told me, so when you guys do lose the house, are you wanting to live with your dad? My response to her was no, because he never changed. He never changes. Only if somebody changed their ways of respecting one another, then my answer probably would have changed. And I'm being 100% clear on that. But I think when you're I mean, that's the thing, my dad's even admit he got scared and traumatized as a kid when his mom abused. It's like, well, you don't have to worry. Like, I don't see you coming at me with a freaking anything or slapping me, or I don't see any of that. You've never done anything like that to me. But again, you know, being raised in Iowa, he had a time, and he was right around my age when he left Iowa and moved to an apartment in New Hampshire, because that's the thing is he when he came up here, when he came to New Hampshire, that's when he started working with George, when he was a carpenter. My dad was a self-employed but that's one of the biggest things is my dad chased what he wanted to do. Where when you have somebody trying to control your every move, you want to listen to those people's guidance, but it's like, let me just do things on my own. Let me discover them. Because when you mature, you can still have support and gain support, but, you don't need somebody up your ass and, and tell you this is how you do it. If you can't do that, it's like, leave, please. I need you to either tell me you can support me with something. If you can't, walk away. And another thing, too, is don't talk about other people either. Even if you don't like what they do not speak about other people. It might drive you crazy of what people do or how they behave, but never is it okay to talk about people. Even if it's not. And that's the thing is when you talk about another family member, it is, for me, it's a huge, if you don't have anything nice to say about them, or you're sitting there non-stop complaining about them. The thing is, if I complain, it's typically about a real reason, a legitimate reason. I don't ever complain about when somebody is or isn't in the room, because it's not fair. You're throwing your opinion that you don't like about somebody towards someone else, and that's when somebody's going to stop and tell you, that's your issue to work out with that person. Do I want to state that to my dad if he has something to I don't, because I've stopped getting interested, but he still tries to drag me in. Even if I'm going out and doing something simple like unloading the dishwasher, getting a drink, my normal things I do in this house. And you have somebody talking about somebody else that lives with you. It's like, why? If you have something against somebody, keep it to yourself, please. It's not that I don't want to hear what you have to say, but if it's not about what I do wrong and it's about another person, fucking knock it off. I often say, lay off. But that's the thing. He keeps going to my mom, me, my mom, me, my. There's some days where I just want to be like, get out of my fucking face. If you don't like what somebody does, you don't bring in the people who weren't involved. It really, whether you're frustrated, nobody can help that you're frustrated. I say if you've tried talking to somebody that constantly buys stuff, stop. I would say definitely stop talking about others, that, and it just, I'm going to start signaling to them from now on. Look, or just walk away. But when I'm getting a drink and somebody starts in like that, I'm trying not to spill the freaking drink, or I'm trying to aim for the cup. So I'm already focused on something. I appreciate my dad. I mean, I respect what he does, but I live with him, but it's hard not to respect somebody when they do it. But I understand you go out and work because you have a job, whereas someone like me who could get a job, I mean, I have had jobs in the past, but my dad's had the same job since he moved here, the same line of work. So he has a job, whereas, like me, I'm in charge of the responsibilities of the house when both parents are gone. That is my job, that is my duty. And I know, that's the thing, consequences come along with anything. If you don't do your job, you don't do what you're told, consequences come along with that.